The most interesting thing is that AI is no longer the future, it's here with us in the present. I'm exploring a lot of details into AI development, security in AI, building robust applications for AI, or just making your traditional applications to have AI capabilities, just having intelligence in your websites, applications, and all that. I'm also looking into how corporates are using AI internally to ensure that they automate number of tasks that they have on a daily basis or what they do on a daily basis. Also, how service companies are actually trying to leverage AI, speed up response time, to speed up development, and also like to automate repetitive tasks that will otherwise require human intervention. Remember, before generative AI, we had like the traditional AI, and now we've had generative AI for a while, 2 years when it's now known so well, and now we are going to what we call artificial general intelligence, that is the AGI. Now today, I was out of curiosity, I was trying to go back to the roots to understand how the traditional AI worked and how it has changed to evolve into something that now we have what is called generative AI. Traditional AI, basically, what developers did or scientists did was writing a number of if else, where if a condition is met, then we expect the output to be particular result, that is Y. So if X is so, then the result should be Y. Basically, in traditional AI, we didn't really have contextual response or abilities to make decisions based on context. It involved obtaining subset of data, and then on that data that's trained, it basically had to make decisions. For example, we can predict the weather tomorrow based on historical data, or pick up particular elements of spam emails. Let's say a particular email can have a number of block letters, can have a number of emojis, which as a human, you get to see them at a glance. You can tell that this is like a spam email. Now, it involved taking that kind of block letters or particular phrases in that email and then training them on a data set such that the next time we get emails, our AI model or data can be able to look for these particular keywords in our email, and with that they can sort these emails as spams or not spams. Also, we can take like marketing emails, pick the phrases that are commonly used in marketing emails, and then train them on some data so that next time we get some emails, our email engine can automatically filter them as promotions, social emails that have like notifications from social media, or even filter them as urgent. For example, if you get an email that has a calendar invite, it can filter it as an urgent email. Now, this was more of if else. Now, this worked, but think of a scenario where you have a number of conditions to be checked. Let's say 1,000 plus. Now imagine that scenario where you have to do the if else until you exhaust all the conditions, all the pre-checks that have to be looked into. Now, that really was good, that was okay, but then scientists came up with something new where we can actually make decisions. We can actually make decisions based on data. Not just decisions, but also even generate new content based on the existing data. Now, this is what led us to what we call generative AI. Now, generative AI, think of it as just a class of AI that can actually produce new content, either text, image, videos, or even audios out of existing data. Remember, we only achieve this because a large data set has been trained again and again. It has been refined so that when we send a prompt, let's say if you're using ChatGPT, when you send a prompt like write for me a cover letter, and then you give it context like the job that you're applying to and the kind of company that you're applying to. Since it's already trained on a large data set, it's able to take your prompt and then contextualize it and then look for the most relevant response from its data set. And then it will generate a whole new fresh content that you can then use to generate, you can then use as your cover letter. So this involves training a large set of data. For example, for us to generate an image from LLMs, it means a number of images, a large amount of images trained to make it possible for us to actually just give prompts and be able to generate new images based on what was trained. Okay. Something else, for example, if we take a number of websites were trained here, data sets here, like probably trillions of data, So what happens here is that this data is trained again and again, until it is perfect, such that when we now give a prompt, that prompt can be understood by the LLMs. So what actually goes behind the scenes in terms of what happens from the point you send your prompt to the point that you get data back actually is very complex, and that is not the point of discussion today. The point of discussion today was just to differentiate between what we call traditional AI and now generative AI. And as I've mentioned, generative AI involves training of large data sets, and then we can actually ask questions. And if you give prompts, they can actually generate fresh new content to us based on data that has been trained, based on the relevancy, context, data that has almost semantic meaning. The number of computations that goes behind the scenes to train such kind of data is enormous. Like, it involves a number of neural algorithms that actually help in grounding this data so that it can make sense. Okay, it involves embedding of this data. It involves pre-processing data, embedding them, also taking care of sensitive information, and just a number of things, a number of computation that goes behind the scenes that we cannot see as the users of LLMs. But for the developers of these LLMs, there's a lot of computations that are involved when training this kind of data. So basically, in a nutshell, generative AI has really been a game changer in the AI field, because through generative AI, we can generate new content. We can actually be able to give prompts to get new images, make new sounds, because it has been trained on existing sounds, and also can be incorporated in existing applications. For example, we can incorporate it so that it can be a chat agent in our website. So users can ask meaningful questions and also get meaningful responses that are more like natural language. This can also be used in reviews, product reviews. So with generative AI, users can give reviews to products or any item online, and then generative AI can be able to classify it as either positive review or negative review. This is just but first of the videos that I'll be bringing to you in what we call my AI series that is starting today. You can expect more on AI, especially generative AI, agentic AI, and then what's next, that is artificial general intelligence. So guys, AI is not the future, it's the present. Oseko Kos signing out.